So I really want better for you guys. I want better for the future generation. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and if you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Nandria. Thank you for stopping by. As you guys can tell by the title of this video, I will be giving you guys 3 tips to help ensure that you get a 4.0 this season. And I know it's been rough being online, especially being online for almost like 2 years now, basically, because I feel like the pandemic hit March 20 and we're in March 22. We'll make 2 years. So that is absolutely crazy to me. But these tips are just to scratch the surface and help you to create a great start. And I'm making sure to put this video out at the beginning of the semester so you guys can start off strong, because it's always the start that determines the end. Don't ever forget that. So without further ado, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see more content coming soon, and let's get straight into this video. So my first tip for you guys is to stay organized. And by organized, I mean stay on top of your deadlines and your due dates. And this is especially important for classes where there aren't any due dates, or like they're flexible deadlines. Like you could probably submit an assignment at the end of the semester, because a lot of times we see that there's no actual due date and then we kind of like put it off. And then at the end of the semester, we're kind of like scrambling and rushing to get everything in order. So this is why my first tip is to stay on top of all of those deadlines. What you can do is you can create an Excel file that has all your deadlines from all your courses, all your classes, all your extracurriculars, and then put that in so that you can actually have a working document that can help you remember when these deadlines are coming up, or what assignments are supposed to be submitted in case those assignments don't have hard deadlines. And when you do this, you clear your headspace so that you're not trying to force yourself to remember all these deadlines, but instead you're trying to focus on remembering the content, remembering things you have to study for, and you just know that something is coming up so you can prepare for that in advance, rather than you randomly remember something is coming up and then you're stressed and then something else gets pushed to the back burner, and then you're just like scrambling all over the place to get everything together. So my tip will be, when you first get your syllabi, you take maybe an hour or 2 out of your day to put in all those deadlines. And also while you're doing it, you can also add prep time. So when I was in undergrad, what I did is I would put in a deadline and then set a reminder for 2 weeks, 1 week, and 5 days ahead of that deadline, so that I will always get these constant reminders that something is coming up, so that way I don't wait until the last minute. Because yes, I do work well under pressure, but during that time, that pressure is hurting. Trust me. Like, I remember I would sometimes go to bed at 5 a.m. or sometimes not even go to bed until like after my first class the next day. So I really want better for you guys. I want better for the future generation. So that's why I am giving you tips that I have learned from my experiences so that you don't have to end up like me. So yes, you can get your deadlines, set reminders for beforehand so that you don't have to wait until the last minute. And then also another thing you can do is, when you're using your calendar to put in those deadlines, also block off study times. So that way you're organized with your deadlines, your study times, your classes, and that way you just have everything working for you. All that you have to do is basically show up and do what you need to do at those allotted times. Another tip that I found super helpful, like closer to the end of my college career, which I wish I had found out much sooner, was to look at the slides ahead of time. I don't know why I never thought about that until my last year. But you guys, when I say this saves so much time, and it also leads into my third tip. But let's focus on this for now. So yes, look at the slides ahead of time. A lot of professors will sometimes upload the class slides before the actual lecture. So take like 15-20 minutes just to like go through the slides. That way you can see what's coming up, and you can also prepare questions for when you are in class or when you are in office hours. By doing this, you give yourself an extra introduction to the material, and that way when you're in your class, it's not like fresh material that you're learning, but instead it's material that you're refreshing yourself on. Like say for example, you're learning like enzymes in class. You can probably look through the enzymes and be like, this is enzyme A, B, C, or D, and then when you go into class, instead of trying to learn the material, you're actually developing more understanding, and you can actually formulate some questions, and that can also help you with getting a clearer understanding of the material that you are learning. And that was just a broad, very simple example. I know sometimes it might not be that simple, but this is just to give you an idea. When I started looking at slides beforehand, it made life so much easier, and it also cut down my study time in half, because I was exposed to the material kind of like for twofold, before class and during class, and then also when I went to like office hours. So that kind of really helps you with like cutting down study time. You don't have to spend 4 to 5 hours studying. Instead, you could probably spend like 2 to 3 hours just refreshing yourself on the material. And then my last tip, you guys, and like I said, and this is a tag off of the previous tip I mentioned, but it's to go to office hours. And you guys, anyone that has ever asked me like, what is my go-to tip for college students? It is to go to office hours, because office hours gives you that one-on-one time with your professor or your TA, and this way you can get specific answers to your questions and specific clarification for the material you do not understand, versus in the classroom it's kind of like a much broader sense when you have your entire class there, and sometimes you get a little nervous for asking questions, and sometimes there may not even be enough time to answer questions. So when you go to office hours, you truly ensure that you are setting up time so that you can get clarification for the material. And also, this is a tip for anyone interested in grad school or like any internships. This is where you create that relationship with your professor or your TA who also works closely with your professor. This is the first step in securing a recommendation from a professor, because in the classroom they can't really get to know you because there's so many other students and you know they're answering everybody's questions. But if you go to office hours, and keyword consistently, if you go to office hours consistently, you can start to develop a little rapport with the professor, maybe even a relationship. I know one of my professors took me out for lunch, and I'm just saying, I don't feel like that was going to happen if I never went to office hours. So professors are people as well. So they want to see you interested in the material that they are teaching because they are interested in it as well. So going to office hours could only reap so many positive benefits. So definitely if you're trying to get ahead, go to office hours. Or if you're just trying to get clarification on something, go to office hours. If you have any questions, go to office hours. Like I stand, go to office hours even if you don't have any questions. You could just probably sit there and talk to your professor because they do have lives, and some of them live very interesting lives. So those are the 3 tips that I have for you. If you guys want a more in-depth video of my college tips and what I learned was best to do for college, please comment them down below. If you have made it this far, hit that thumbs up button, and I will see you guys in the next one.